What? Controller player! That is a controller!
No. Well, maybe. But that's not the point. The problem is that you're aiming wrong, so you're not beaming them back. This is Fortnite, the only modern shooter where aiming at their head makes you miss more shots. You know, cause Bloom. Let's look at how it works, and more importantly, how we use it to beam kids like the pros. So you shoot your first bullet and get a headshot. First shot accuracy, so the bullet goes right where you want it. But now, you're at the mercy of Bloom, the RNG circle that always seems to make the opponent hit more shots. The way the reticle looks makes you think it just shoots randomly within the circle, right? Well, yes, but actually no. The circle we see is just to help us visualize where a bullet might go, but Fortnite doesn't choose a random spot for the bullet to hit. Instead, it sends the bullet a random angle off center. That may seem like the same thing, but look at this example. Imagine we're shooting a target 100 meters away, and the gun shoots anywhere between 0 and 60 degrees off center. From 0 to 15 degrees, there's a range of 54 meters that the bullet can land in. From 15 to 30, the range is 115 meters, and from 30 to 60, it's 346 meters. You'd expect the distance to double when we double the angle, but the distance actually increases exponentially. Only thing is, Bloom only sends bullets off center by about 1 degree, so this won't really matter. So we can pretty much just pretend bullets hit a random spot in the Bloom circle for simplicity. I wanted to be sure Bloom was mostly random, so I used Premiere Pro and Excel to create charts and heat maps, but I know that's boring, so I'll spare you.
Psych a lot!
First, I didn't want kick to affect Bloom data, so I looked straight up. Your gun can't kick up if you're already looking straight up. Then I brought it into Premiere Pro and put a red dot on each frame where the bullet went. Took the red dot's position and plotted them in Excel to make a heat map. The heat map looks like more bullets land in the center, but that's just because the bullets that do land in the center overlap, but the ones that are on the outside don't. If we turn this slider down, you can more easily see that it's pretty random. So to figure out where we should aim, we need to look at a target and calculate the average damage it'll do per shot. Each point in the circle has an equal chance of getting hit, so we add up how much damage a bullet hitting each spot would do. Divide this by the total number of points in the circle to get an average damage per shot. So now we look at what the average damage is at each spot we aim at, to find the highest average damage. That's where we should aim for the best possible bloom every time. The only things that change where we should aim are the weapon's bloom size, the headshot multiplier, and how close the enemy is. We could spend all day calculating it for each weapon and each range, but mid-game there's no way you'd be able to do that anyway. But we need our principles that apply to all weapons at all ranges, and that's what I've created. Rule number 1, never aim above the mouth. When you're only aiming for headshots, you're aiming for the center of the head, but in Fortnite the headshot hitbox includes the neck all the way down to the collarbone. So the mouth is the center of the headshot hitbox. If you're aiming any higher than that, you're just making it harder to track if they crouch, and missing more bullets that'll fly over their head. Rule number 2, never aim below center mass. Everyone intuitively knows this one if they're standing in the open. You wouldn't shoot at their legs. But if their head is obscured, you shouldn't aim for their chest, you should aim for the center of what you can see. In that case, it would be around their thighs. And finally, the third and most counterintuitive rule, keep the top of their head on the top of your bloom circle. Not the center, but the top of the circle. This will on average give you the same amount of headshots, but some bullets that would have missed will be body shots instead. Follow all 3 rules, but the first 2 have priority over the third. So if they're far away and you would aim here to keep the top of the bloom on their head, you wouldn't because the second rule is to never aim below center mass. So altogether, keep the top of the bloom circle on the top of their head, while keeping the center of your reticle between here. These rules will apply to every weapon in the game that has bloom. I'll be making a separate video regarding shotguns and their pellet spread, so subscribe if you don't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and farewell.